Okay, so good morning, everybody, and welcome to the International Open Day dedicated, in this case, to the presentation of the bachelor's degree in corporate communication and public relations. Today, I'd like uh, to just add a few information before we start straight away with our presentation. So if for all students watching the live presentation with questions, doubts, comments, they can just write their questions on their YouTube chat, so that at the end of this session we will deal with all the questions in the Q&A sessions dedicated. So without further ado, I leave the floor to the coordinator of the Bachelor Program in Corporate Communication and Public Relations, Professor Alessandra Massei. Grazie.
Thank you, Gabriele, and welcome everybody also from my side. You are connected from many countries all over the world, so we have a very international audience. Thank you for being with us. Together with me, there are Silvia Ravazzani, that is Professor of Corporate Communication in this bachelor program, and Enrico Bocedi, that is Head of Corporate Communications at Campari Group. Together with my colleagues, we designed this presentation in two parts, following two questions. The first question is, why is this the moment to study corporate communication? And we will listen to Silvia Ravazzani to have the academic point of view, and to Enrico Bocedi to have the professional point of view. The second part of the presentation will try to answer to another question, that is, why a prospect student should enroll exactly to this bachelor in corporate communication, and will be given by myself. So I would like to ask, first of all, to Silvia Ravazzani, why, according to her, this is the right moment to study corporate communication.
Okay, thank you very much, and good morning, everybody. So next slide, please, so I can start my short speech around this very important question from an academic perspective. So corporate communication is about organizations and the way in which they respond and adapt to the world around them through the use of communication. And today's world is increasingly complex. Societal and market dynamics demand organizations to approach their communication strategically and with an open mindset. Think, for example, of the variety of internal and external stakeholders and their daily relationship with an organization or a brand. Corporate communication is not only about customers, but as you can see here, we have investors, we have the media, political groups, communities, employees, trade associations, suppliers, governments, all with different expectations that need to be addressed by an organization. We are also living in an age shaped by a general loss of confidence in business due to many corporate scandals. Think, for example, of the recent Volkswagen emissions scandal, also known as Dieselgate, or Facebook scandal for massive data breach. So today, society demands increased transparency from brands and organizations about their decisions and their operations, their behaviors. And the contemporary context is also characterized by a very large and chaotic volume of commercial messages and the multiplication of media and sources of information, especially with social media, often replacing traditional journalism. And this also leads to dangerous phenomena like misinformation and fake news. So if we go to the next slide, we can say that all these societal and market dynamics require organizations to invest more on communication. Corporate communication considers the organization as a whole. So the focus is not on single brands or single products, but on the corporation, its values, its identity. So it's a rich field, including a number of specializations. And here you can see some examples. For example, CSR communication that a company employs for anticipating stakeholders' expectations and providing true and transparent information about its impact on society and the environment. Another example is social media communication. Companies today use social media a lot to reach and engage stakeholders, to have direct and constant conversations with them, and to present also a more human image of themselves. And the final example is sponsorships, which is a specialized form of promotion where a company or brand helps fund an event or an activity in return for publicity. And events can include these kind of sponsorships, sports competitions like the Olympics or motorsport championships, which give great global visibility to the corporate sponsors. So if we go next, we can say that corporate communication has many areas or specializations. We also have crisis management, investor relations, media relations, and so on. So it's a vast and complex, but also fascinating field of practice, where the final aim is to build, maintain, and protect the company's reputation among stakeholders. So if we please go next, I'd like you, when envisioning your university experience and your future job, to consider that both theoretical and practical aspects are fundamental to help you become reflective practitioners. A reflective practitioner is a practitioner who is mindful about his or her own professional conduct and who continuously reflects upon his or her own performance. So what does it mean? In simple words, a reflective practitioner takes in and uses theoretical knowledge to inform practice and be a successful professional. So this is what studying corporate communication can offer you: the possibility to develop a solid toolkit of methods, theories, and concepts, as well as develop well-grounded skills in relation to using the toolkit in practice. So finally, if we go next, thank you. At the beginning, I talked about the complexity of today's world. And through studying corporate communication, you will develop a set of strong and unique skills based on solid knowledge. These skills can include managerial skills, such as planning and coordinating the multiple communication specializations, tactical skills, such as producing and disseminating messages via traditional but also new media, and other soft skills. For example, the ability to negotiate and connect with multiple stakeholders, the sensitivity to work in multicultural teams and settings, or again, the creativity and the sensitivity to build companies that are a force for good for society. So thank you so much for listening. That was my overview.
Thank you so much, Silvia, for your insights. And now I would like to ask the same question to Enrico Boccedi, asking him to give us the professional point of view on the same topic. Thank you, Enrico.
Thanks, Professor Mazzei, and good morning, everyone. I would move directly to the next slide. So why it is important and it's the right moment to study corporate communication today? Because as Professor Ravazzani was mentioning earlier, we are living in a very complex context. So the world is a very complex place to be now. There are so many different trends like populism, the polarization of debate, fake news, just to mention the few and the most recent trends that have been affecting a lot of societal dimensions in the recent times. So in this context, professional communicators have the great opportunity, privilege, and also a responsibility in knowing how to manage the influence in generating, shaping public opinion, together with the counterparts in the world of media. So they actually can understand and also generate public opinion, and they can contribute to shape public opinion and to enrich the public debate. So they have, the professional communicators have also an ethical duty to do their job responsibly, because they can actually contribute to support and facilitate the understanding of societal change. So it has a pivotal role, a professional communicator, because he has a privileged perspective through which look at a reality, and this can help also in not just understanding, but also in simplifying and communicating to a wider audience this complex reality. Then if we move to the next slide, corporate communication gives also the possibility to do a great job. I mean, there are several professions that can be embraced by studying corporate communication, but all of them are characterized by some very specific features. Of course, it's a dynamic profession. It's always challenging and stimulating, because it's evolving. It's in constant evolution together with society, together with the evolution of the world. So it requires to be always up to date on the latest events happening all over the world, because it's fundamental to have a global perspective. But you always need to have also your feet on the ground. So you need to understand the current reality, where the society is in that very moment, but of course, in the present time. But of course, you need to have a global perspective and look ahead and look in the future, because you need to understand also where the next trends will be coming from. You need to identify the first roots of new trends and new phenomena, because you will be the one in the forefront to understand and translate them to the wider audience. So again, it's a very challenging but extremely stimulating job, and it's gaining space within the organization, both private and public, because it's becoming a key skill for organization to play their part in the business context. And this comes to an end also to my part. So I leave it to you, Professor Mazzei, again.
Thank you so much, Dr. Enrico Bocelli. Thank you so much to my colleague for their valuable thoughts and for the insights. So we have learned so far that there are several reasons to study today corporate communication, and in particular that there is an explosion of corporate communication that requires very highly skilled professionals. This is the challenge that we at ULM decided to take, to face, to seize, and we designed this program in corporate communication and public relations. So the next question that I'd like to try to give an answer is, why should a prospect student enroll exactly at the Bachelor of Arts in Corporate Communication and Public Relations at University? In order to give an answer, let me give an overview about our program. So in the next slide, we see a kind of a very brief history of this program. This program was born in the academic year 1992-1993 as a degree in public relations taught in Italian, and it was the first undergraduate program in the field of communication in Italy and among the first also in Europe. Also, this program is the largest in Italy and one of the largest in Europe again, as we enroll every year about 750 students divided into 3 classes. So this is a very large number of students. Also, we have a good number of graduates. We graduated more than 12,000 people from 1996 to 2020. It means last year. This means that we educated a new generation of professionals in the field of communication with a specialized training and with high skills in the field. Our last innovation is the establishment of a track taught in English. So the track in corporate communication and public relations that was born in the academic year 2019-2020. It means 2 years ago exactly. Moving to the next slide, I'd like to illustrate the mission of this program. The mission is to train professionals in the field of corporate communication that are capable to manage the relationships and the communication processes with all the stakeholders of an organization. My colleagues before mentioned some of these stakeholders, customers, suppliers, local communities, citizens, media, influencers, journalists, and so forth. So a wide span of stakeholders. In any kind of businesses, in different type of industries, from grocery to mass market to retail, fashion, sports, and so forth, and also in any kind of organizations, I mean both private and public institutions, non-profit organizations. The management of this network of relationships and communication processes aim to support for an organization its sales, brands, and corporate reputation. Again, I am referring to some concepts already mentioned by my colleagues just before. Coming to the next slide. Here you see the basic idea of our education approach. As we need very highly skilled professionals, open-minded, our education philosophy is based on the integration of different disciplines. In particular, we focus on these 4 areas of knowledge. Business management fundamentals. The idea is to train people that are aware about the context, the business context, where they will operate as communicators. In this area of knowledge, you will study management, marketing, organization theories, for example. The second area of knowledge of this program is stakeholder monitoring and understanding in order to become capable to have a dialogue with all the stakeholders. In this area of knowledge, you will study psychology and sociology with different specializations. Third area of knowledge is the communication management in order to become able to master tools, tactics, strategies to design communication plans, and so forth. In this area of knowledge, you will study corporate communication, public relations, advertising, and creativity, for example. The fourth area of knowledge is language skills, to be prepared to operate in an international context. Besides English, that is mandatory, you will study a second optional foreign language, as for example German, French, Spanish, Russian, Chinese, at your choice. At the end of your degree, in the third year, you also will be required to prepare a graduation project, an individual and original project with the supervision of a teacher. You will attend several mandatory courses, but beside these, you have the opportunity to choose 3 elective courses, and also you can decide to do an internship instead of giving an elective course. So this is our education philosophy based on the idea of an interdisciplinary perspective in order to prepare people that are open-minded. Going to the next slide. Our program is taught in English, but actually our ambition is to be a place where you will find an intercultural and international learning environment. This is the reason why we try to recruit students from all over the world. In the current academic year, 2020-21, the 21% of our students enrolled are international, and they come from 20 countries other than Italy. So it seems to us that we have a quite international classroom learning environment. But also, moving to the next slide, we are implementing other internationalization strategies. First of all, we try to recruit international teachers, both as adjunct professors or as guest lecturers. Also, we organized the Corporate Communication International Week. During this week, teachers from all over the world join our campus in Milan. Not this year, it will be online. And these international teachers, will give guest lectures to our students on a very wide span of topic. So our students staying in our campus will have the opportunity to get in touch with a very international faculty during this week. Another opportunity for internationalization is the partnership that we have with the Dublin Business School. With this school, we have an agreement, and our students can go there to attend 1 year or 1 intensive semester and gain the honors degree in marketing. Finally, there are other international opportunities, as for example, internships abroad, Erasmus exchange, and many other scholarship opportunities. So if you want, you can join our campus, have an international experience here, but also you can go in other countries if you are interested. Few words about our teaching methods. Next slide. Of course, we have the classic lectures, but beside these, we implement a lot of activities aimed to give to the students the opportunity to develop a professional perspective and to develop practical skills. In this slide, you can see some examples. First, starting from the top left, inside some courses, we host projects with companies. In the picture, you see a session held by a product manager by Branca. Branca is an Italian company in the spirits industry. And this company gives to our students a brief that they developed in group and that presented to the company. Moving to the right, in our workshops that are entire course, we also have competition among students. In the picture, you see a group of students that are the first group classified in a project context implemented together with Coca-Cola in the workshop in public relations. And moving to the right bottom, an example of a very exciting professional experience. A group of students become brand reporters at the Festival of Economics in Trento, together with Sanofi's communication team. And finally, moving to the next slide, with the COVID-19 pandemic, we experienced a new way of teaching and learning. In this slide, you see some screenshots taken from a video prepared by a group of students from the corporate communication course. In this course, students are required to analyze an international event. This group of students decided to analyze the Red Bull Cliff Diving 2019. This event has had legs in Lublin, Polignano a Mare, Mostar, Beirut, and Bilbao. And you can see some screenshots taken from their video presentations. Very nice. So, what about after the graduation? Moving to the slide with the career opportunities. After your graduation, you can apply for a position fundamentally in 3 professional areas: corporate communication, marketing communication, and consultancy agencies. In corporate communication, as a junior, you can apply for a position as corporate communication specialist, social media specialist, junior media planner, and internal communication specialist. Of course, these are only some examples. Also, in marketing communication, you can apply for a position as junior product manager, junior product brand manager, junior trade manager, or junior sales account. Again, these are only some examples. And finally, in consultancy agencies, you can apply for position as junior account, junior digital strategist, media relations specialist, or junior event manager. If you would like to continue to study instead of entering the professional world, you can you can enroll in a master program at your university. Moving to the next slide, we designed two master programs linked to this bachelor. The first one is marketing, consumption, and communication, actually taught in Italian. This master has 3 specializations: retail management, brand management, and digital marketing management. Also, we offer a master program in strategic communication that is taught in English for internet, specifically for international students. And this is all from my side. Thank you for your attention. And now we are available for questions from your side. Thank you.
Okay, perfect. So thank you, Professor Mazzei, as well as Professor Ravazzani and Professor Bocelli for your very interesting and rich of content presentation concerning the bachelor degree in corporate communication and public relations. So as far as I can see, we do not have actually questions yet. So is there maybe some points that you'd like to deepen or some suggestions you may add for I don't know, the skills that the perfect candidate for corporate communication should have?
I can start and then I ask my colleagues if you want to add something. In order to enroll in our program, you should have a high school diploma in several fields. So humanities or scientific high schools are good enough as well. You know that in order to, when you apply, you have to take a selective test. This is a test based on your psychological and attitudinal characteristics. So it's not a test based on knowledge, but it's a test based on your personality, let's say. So usually a good path in a high school, it's enough to have the characteristics to apply to this bachelor. I would say that the most important thing is the kind of orientation, the kind of jobs that you would like to do in your life.
If I may add to what Professor Mazzei was saying, it is also fundamental to bring something which is an extreme curiosity and, of course, the right amount of ambition, because it's a challenging career path which requires also a strong preparation during the studies. So you need to be willing to always look for more information and be open to a lot of learning on the way, because it's a field that it's naturally evolving. So you might be focusing also on things that are just starting right now and maybe come to maturity in the next 18 months or so. So it's really fundamental to be very open to everything evolving.
Yes, if I may, actually had more or less the same ideas of Enrico, being, willing to study hard. This is very important because it's a demanding program, so very rich, but also interesting. So it's very important to have this curious mind, being open-minded, and be ready not just to study with books, but also to expand your horizons. We offer events. We also work, as Professor Mazzei explained before, we work a lot with practitioners and people coming with cases and practical projects, so you can also experiment in practice what you learn. So it's like learning by doing. It's not just studying on books or articles or whatever. So I agree with you that being ready to study, but also to challenge yourselves with curiosity and this openness to information, to many different experiences, is what could make you the best candidate for the program, but also the best candidate for a successful future career in this area.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Professor Ravazzani, as far as you said that the theoretical approach should always be supported by the more practical ones. And our bachelor degree in corporate communication and public relations aims at providing students with full tools and instruments in order to be as professional as possible and to work as professional in the field of communication. And concerning the communication thing, so to say, so how, in your opinion, has communication changed during last year and due to COVID-19?
It's quite a vast arena here. I don't know. Shall I? I can bring the company perspective, and then of course it's more on also on Professor Mazzei and Ravazzani. So companies have been, I mean, my direct experiences have been learning a lot. It's been an evolution on not just on content, but also on channels, on tone of voice on which the company should speak to the internal and external audiences. So there's been a lot of focus on internal stakeholders, mean employees, but also on the, again, it's a point that I mentioned earlier, on the societal role that companies were required to have. So that was a huge trend globally, and communicators have learned it last year, and this also gave shape to the way that companies and organizations communicated to the external stakeholders, because there was the need of some strong reference points. So people were looking for certainties. So companies or organizations could be one of these certainties by communicating in a new and adequate way to the new scenario.
Yeah, with the COVID-19 emergency, actually, the role of corporate communication is increasingly relevant because companies need to explain what is happening inside to their employees, but also outside to their stakeholders. Furthermore, companies have to explain and support people to accept and to manage the change. Also, companies have the need to explain to the general public, their stakeholders, what they are doing in order to face the emergency. So we are observing a growing relevance of corporate communication during pandemic. And also, I would like to add another sentence that is about the role of communication during a sanitary crisis. Until there is a medicine or a vaccine, communication is the unique antidote to a sanitary crisis, because we have to face the crisis with our own appropriate behaviors. So communication has a great responsibility in building this kind of awareness.
Yeah, I agree with you that communication, especially in the past year, has seen a growth in, responsibility and in general role in communicating to external stakeholders, but also to employees to explain the sanitary situation, to also motivate people at work. So many different challenges, and I would say, as never before, the key competencies of communicators have been precious to organizations. And with these skills, I mean change management and resilience in times of crisis. So as never before.
If we look around us, we will notice, and the prospect students can do this kind of exercise, we can notice a lot of advertising that refer directly or indirectly to the pandemic. So communicators inside the companies and also inside the consultant agencies had to immediately react and change, adapt the way of communication implemented before. Thank you, Gabriele.
So yeah, this was obviously a tough question that couldn't be answered just in a couple of words, but as far as I'm concerned, your answers were pretty clear to me, and I hope also for the audience that is following us. We do have another question. So how important do you think it is to speak different languages, not only English and Italian, to work with corporate communication, or it depends on which area you want to work in?
Silvia, you are an expert in the intercultural communication. Would you like to answer?
Well, I can say maybe Professor Bocelli can add from a practitioner perspective, but well, definitely English is a must. We've been knowing this for years, but especially today. Also, if we want to talk about this global crisis, we have to talk the same language at a very good level. And it's not just about language as such, it's also having intercultural skills. So it's not just, speaking a language, but being able to interact with different cultures in the correct way, because habits or, ways of thinking and behaving can vary a lot depending on the country. So I would say English first, intercultural skills together with the language. And then, of course, it depends also on the country, the kind of company, and the stakeholders abroad, which you might have one day these interactions. So more languages, of course, are something that could be valuable in your life. Yeah, let's say that English and these broad intercultural skills are what could help you, best in succeeding in your professional life. So yeah. I don't know if you want to add anything from the practitioner point of view, and you use English every day. So
yeah, I'm totally aligned with what you just mentioned. Yes, it's English. It's a must. Absolutely. This is something that an intercultural. Probably it's even more tricky because it's even more needed because it's from where you can have the biggest damages if you don't understand the cultural context in which you are operating. This is something that is true both from even if you work with a corporation, so with an already existing international presence. Of course, you need to speak at least English and then maybe some other languages. But also if you're working on a local companies with global ambitions, again, you need to understand. So you need to speak different languages, and English it's a must. And you need to understand the cultural differences, because maybe your product is going to be perceived differently abroad. But again, even if you are working on a local market, local company on local market, again, you cannot ignore the differences in cultural aspects that can be present also in your local market, because today it's very difficult to find countries which are monocultural. I mean, global immigration movements have created multicultural environment and context everywhere. So again, you need to have intercultural skills to play this professional role, and always with the knowledge of at least English, because otherwise you have very limited possibilities.
If I agree with my colleagues, and if I can add another underline and nuance, English is a must, without any doubts. a second language, I think will add to us more sensitivity to differences and to cultures. So this is the reason why we included in our program also a second language, because it's a way to increase this kind of sensitivity to differences.
Yeah, that's right. So thank you for mentioning the fact that we added another language to the program, because for all those international students that doesn't know Italian yet, they will be able to study Italian and attend Italian classes throughout their journey, so to say, here in Ulm University. So starting from their second year, they will be able also to deepen and to learn Italian culture and language as well. So for now, I'd like to invite all the audience that would like to join us for further questions on our Microsoft Teams dedicated room, in which you will be find me and our colleagues in order to answer the questions. We have a specific link that you need to type in just to log in the browser. And before that, I'd like to thank you to Professor Mazzei, Bucedi, and Ravazzani for joining us in this wonderful presentation. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.